The US Open has been an expected roller coaster and has left the tennis world in a frenzy. We witnessed some brilliant tennis, but all this time, we were waiting to see who'd come out on top. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the US Open has finally come to an end, and we have a new athlete on top of the tennis world after winning the finals. Carlos Alcaraz just won his first ever US Open. Let's dive into it. First up, how did Carlos Alcaraz reach his first ever finals? Frankly, not many thought of Alcaraz participating in his first huge tournament and walking home with the title, especially if you think about his competitors like Nick Kyrgios, Frances Tiafoe, and Rafael Nadal. But this young man got through every round victorious and played some fabulous tennis. In the fourth round, he defeated Martin Cilic graciously by winning 3 sets out of 5. The quarterfinals were a tough one for him against Jannik Sinner, who had taken over the second and third sets, but Alcaraz displayed resilience and won the last 2. After that, Frances Tiafoe lost to the Spanish. Match after match, he remained confident and active. Even when loss was more probable, he fought back. Not once did he ever give up, even against tough opponents. And yesterday, Alcaraz went against Casper Ruud in probably his biggest and most nerve-wracking match ever. His serves, shots, and ironclad mentality brought him the sweet taste of victory. Bear in mind, this guy is just 19 years old, and he's the new #1. He's that young and already on the top. Imagine with more experience, he'll be no different than the Big Four. Next up, the final match. Arthur Ashe Stadium was buzzing with nervousness and excitement. The 19-year-old was to face a valiant Casper Ruud in an epic Grand Slam final. Alcaraz nicked a break to win the first set, marking his immediate dominance in the court. But Ruud wasn't here to take it easy on him. He quickly stood his ground, winning the second and grabbing 2 breaks. To be honest, guys, the young star looked pretty tired, but getting a bit ahead of Ruud in the third set gave him all the energy he needed to finish the job in the fourth. The Spaniard ended it right there and created history by becoming the youngest ever top-ranked player in the tennis world. In just his second appearance at Flushing Meadows, he won and became the world #1. We're crazy happy for him. Following that, it's officially the age of Alcaraz. Alcaraz didn't just come to win, he came to experience and grab on to any moment that he could. When walking out, he rushed to the fans, leaning over the railing and bumped fists with them. Soon after the coin toss, he turned to sprint to the baseline for a quick warm-up before being called to the net for some pre-match photos. He seemed determined to make the best out of this, regardless of the outcome. The young superstar's maturity and boundless energy helped him defeat Ruud in just 4 sets, 6-4, 2-6, 7-6, 6-4. His final moment before his win is a must-watch. Alcaraz sent forth a blazing serve to win the match and immediately fell on his back in disbelief, like he couldn't believe what was happening. The crowd roared to celebrate the victory and the new champion. Tony Woodbridge exclaimed in the commentary for Nine's Wide World of Sport that Alcaraz has done it. It's officially the age of Alcaraz. Not only is he a US Open champion, but also #1 in the world. He rolled on his front and let out something similar to a sob or a laugh before getting up to hug Ruud near the net. His opponent showed great sportsmanship by embracing and congratulating Alcaraz for his historic victory. Ruud came out to say that both of them knew what they were playing for. He said he's disappointed, yes, but #2 does have a nice ring to it, so it's not so bad. The 23-year-old won the Sportsmanship Award for conceding a point, as he was aware it wasn't valid and not deserved. A brilliant display of the sport and everything it should entail. We have to say, Ruud is no ordinary player. He's the youngest since Nadal to get 2 major finals in 1 season. In fact, he was a runner-up to Nadal in the French Open. Moving on, how did Alcaraz feel about becoming the new top player? Being the youngest man to lead the ATP rankings is a huge record broken. We can't even begin to imagine watching your dreams come true at the ripe age of 19. Alcaraz said in a post-match interview that this win was something he dreamed of since being a kid. By the way, he's still a kid. He appeared dumbfounded by the reality of it. Working hard every single day, aiming for something so huge is draining, to say the least. And finally having all your hard work pay off must be overwhelming. That's exactly what the Spaniard felt, as he said that it's tough to put his emotions into words with there being too many. This was his 8th appearance at a major tournament, and he's already made headlines. Many hope for him to follow in the footsteps of Rafael Nadal. And guess what? Nadal, who watched from his home, congratulated the young athlete for all his success. He appreciated the amazing tournament and even gave some love to Ruud for his wonderful effort. Alcaraz's coach, Juan Ferrero, said that the 19-year-old isn't even at his full potential. He met Alcaraz when he was just 12 and found that he had an undeniable talent and was born to play in tournaments. Although he was a noodle with no muscles, Ferrero saw something special in him, and he wasn't wrong at all. As a coach, he said that the athlete was just at 60% of his potential and can improve his serve, backhand, and consistency. We'd love to see where Alcaraz is headed for his future in tennis. Now moving on to other news you might be interested in. First up, Carlos Alcaraz celebrates with his team. Alcaraz has been working with his coach since he was just 12 and joined the academy, and now, just shy of 8 years later, he's broken records. Now, he wasn't just born with the ability to counter every tough opponent ever. No, his talents were cultivated and trained by his coach, Juan Carlos Ferrero. This is no ordinary coach. He's a former world #1 himself himself and a former finalist in New York. The teenager dedicated his win to his mentor during the winner's speech. He thanked Ferrero and said that if it weren't for him, he wouldn't be lifting his trophy. If he didn't have him as a coach and in the box, none of these wins would be possible for him alone. He even went as far as to call Ferrero his second father. The Spaniard's affection towards his team was apparent as he rushed to his box to share a warm embrace right as he won. He hugged everyone, but saved his energy for his coach. His only regret was that his mother and grandfather couldn't be there with him to lift the first of his many trophies, but he reassured everyone that he was thinking of them and grateful for their support throughout the years. Next up, Swiatek maintains her record at the top. World number 1 Iga Swiatek swept the trophy right from under Ons Jabeur's feet in the US Open final this past Saturday. She just won her maiden trophy at Flushing Meadows and her third Grand Slam title. Like Alcaraz, she fell on her back from the happiness she felt at that moment. She came out to say that staying composed through the touch match was important, so instead of panicking, she chose to stay calm and won despite the challenging tournament. She stated that New York is pretty loud, crazy, and super tempting, so she's proud of herself for handling it and focusing on what she was here for. The crowd wasn't very relaxed. They were whistling and making noise, which earned them a pretty stern look from the chair umpire. Along with the trophy, she'll be heading home with a $2.6 million check for her victory. She joked that she was grateful that it isn't in cash. Last up, Swiatek and Alcaraz both congratulate each other. Iga Swiatek is a regular champion, but Carlos Alcaraz won his first ever. Shortly after the win, Swiatek took to Twitter to congratulate not just Alcaraz, but also Casper Ruud. This isn't the first time she's been impressed by the wonderful display of Alcaraz's work on the court. The Polish champ was amazed by his performance in Madrid. She couldn't watch the matches because of her busy schedule, but watched the highlights. In an interview, she said that beating Novak and Rafa in the same tournament is a huge feat, and she'll be sure to keep up with the young star. Carlos Alcaraz responded half an hour later to her tweet. He said that he was delighted to win his first US Open in the same year as Swiatek. So are we. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think of the new world number 1? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a huge thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos. See you at the next one.